In the previous video, we installed the serverless framework and tried out the command line. Now let's create our first serverless project. In this video, we are going to use the serverless framework to create a simple Node.js Lambda function and a REST API. I have opened my terminal to create a directory where I want to place my serverless project files. So let's create a directory. I name it app. You can name it whatever you want. Go into that directory and open your preferred IDE. I use the Atom editor. Now the Atom editor is opened in my empty directory, and I'll use a Atom package named Terminal Plus to open a new terminal inside my IDE. This makes it easier because I don't need to switch between writing code and typing in commands. So let's type in a command to scaffold a serverless service. The command for creating a service is create, but it needs two more parameters. The first parameter is template. And here we specify the cloud provider, in our case AWS, and the runtime, Node.js. This command is a bit lengthy and I don't like so much typing, so let's use a shorter command. Instead of typing template, we can type -t, and instead of typing serverless, we can type SLS. Now we need one more parameter, the name of our service. I call it simple, the simple service. But we can also make this shorter, -n. Let's execute this command to create some boilerplate code. Et voila! Two files have been created. A serverless YAML file, which describes our project, and a handler.js implementation of my Lambda function handler. Let's take a look at the serverless YAML file first. Here you find the configuration for our service, the name of our service that I have typed into the command line, and the provider AWS and our runtime Node.js. There are also some other configurations. Most of them can stay in the defaults, but the region is not right. I want another region. So the default region is in US East, North Virginia, but I want to use Frankfurt. So let's change that. Let's change it from US East 1 to EU Central 1. There are some more configurations down here, such as IAM permissions, and we'll go into detail on that later. Let's scroll down a little bit further, and here you find our Lambda function. The function name is hello, and the function handler is specified here. It references a file, our handler.js file up here, and that file exports a hello module. Let's take a look into the handler.js file. Here you can see that it exports a function, our handler named hello. And the signature looks familiar to what we have seen before. We have an event parameter, a context parameter, and an optional callback parameter. The boilerplate code specifies a response which says go serverless and plays back the event that has been received. And then it invokes a callback, an error first callback without an error, where we specify the response down here. We can already deploy this function using SLS deploy, and we need to give it the function name, hello, or short, -f. Now, this takes a little time. What happens behind the scenes is that Serverless sets up some CloudFormation templates. It uploads them to our S3, into an S3 bucket in our AWS S3 account, and uses these templates to create other AWS resources, such as our Lambda function. Now our Lambda function has been deployed into the EU Central 1 region using the dev stage. We don't have deployed any endpoints yet, And the function name is simple, the name of our service, dev, the name of our stage, and hello, the name of our function. We can invoke the remote function from our command line using SLS invoke and giving it the function name hello. And as you can see, we get back the message that we have specified up here. If you want to do a lot of testing, it takes too much time to always deploy the function and then invoke the function via SLS invoke. We can also locally invoke our function. Simply add the parameter SLS invoke local. And this will call our function locally. Let's change it to hello world. So I have only changed my code locally, I didn't deploy it. So if I invoke it locally again, it shows hello world. If I invoke the remote function, it shows go serverless. Now the last thing that we want to do in this video is to create an API. Let's go back to the serverless YAML file and scroll down a little bit further to our function. Here you can already see a template, what we need to do to create an API. Let's delete this comment code and comment out the events property, the HTTP property, the path, and the method. And what this will do is it will create a simple REST API for us, specifying a GET method on this resource path. Let's choose a different resource path, let's call it hello. Now we run SLS deploy again. SLS deploy has executed, and now we have an endpoint for our API. Let's try it out in the browser. Let's copy and paste the URI, and it responds back with our message, hello world, and also with the event that it received from us. In the next video, we are going to dig a little bit deeper into how to program Lambda functions with Node.js. See you there.